Today's June 11th, 2025. Current Bitcoin price is $108,595.
Welcome to the BitBite podcast, your source for news and information about Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. This podcast is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not financial advice.
Man, oh man, Rick, I will tell you what. We had released the last episode, and then the fireworks between Trump and Elon started.
Yeah, we kind of were the prelude.
The disgusting abomination. That guy kind of nasty there for a little while.
Yeah, it seems to have died down quite a bit since some of the riots in LA have happened.
Yeah, I think they've kind of meted things up. So, you know, Trump and Uncle Elon aren't fighting anymore.
We can have a happy family again, I guess. I don't know.
For a moment.
Thanksgiving's not ruined yet.
Not yet. We'll see what happens later. But yeah, I mean, I think, and not to harp on that too much, but, you know, I totally get where Elon was coming from. Like he had to have been upset. And I know we talked about that on the last episode. Like all the time that he worked tirelessly, basically, to get that stuff done. And yeah.
No, he worked tirelessly and he lost a whole bunch of his value because he was targeted politically. And I would be upset too if I was in his position.
Yeah, I would as well. So, I mean, not to harp on that too much, but I mean, we were talking about it at least a little bit beforehand, or at least last week we talked about it. We discussed that. So how are our theoreticals doing while we're looking at that?
Not too shabby. I mean, what is Bitcoin price at? $108,595. So if you would have bought $3,000 of Bitcoin back in October 2023, which would have been a really nice spot to purchase, your $3,000 investment would be now worth $9,611.
It's not bad.
Pretty good.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yep. And even if you did the theoretical purchase back last year at the halvings, which was April 19th, 2024, $1,000 would have bought you 0.0156 Bitcoin. That purchase is now worth 1,698. So almost a 70% gain.
That's pretty damn good too.
Yes.
All the way around. I mean, I think in one of the big reasons why we started the theoreticals was just to prove to people, if you buy Bitcoin and hold it for a long period of time, you will see a return.
Yep.
But you have to hold it.
Especially if you buy it before things go crazy. I mean, there's always that valley. I mean, it's not like we bought it at the absolute lows, theoretically.
Yeah.
You know, Bitcoin in the last cycle went down to $15,000 after the FTX crash. I mean, that was brutal.
Yeah.
If you would have bought that $3,000 then, I mean, you would have had a fifth of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, just how much it takes to accumulate even a tenth of a coin anymore. So, I mean, and when we look at the charts here right now, like part of the reason why I think we're kind of excited about things right now is like we have 30 days now where Bitcoin's been over $100,000. First time in history, obviously, this has happened like that. We're continually flirting like all around that all-time high level. We just need some sort of a serious break one way or the other to really kind of make it happen. Last time we recorded, we had talked about ETF flows and things were looking really nice. Things are still looking relatively good. We had nothing that's too crazy that stands out. We actually had a 0 day on June 5th. From BlackRock. What was that last time? So we recorded on the 4th last time. And So it was the day after that, they did that 284 million. Then they have 0. Grayscale's kind of slowed down. They're either doing nothing or they've got slight sales. June 5th, though, there was kind of a decent amount outflows, 278 million. June 6th, we had 447.8 million worth of outflows. And then it looks
The
like
past 2 days
386.
have been pretty decent.
Yeah, they've been pretty solid past 2 days. Today's looking like it's shaping up fairly good. Still be kind of curious to see what BlackRock decided today. But yeah, it's been kind of an interesting ride. I was expecting, I don't know, we had a pretty good close for the week, and I was expecting kind of maybe a quiet day on Monday and maybe waiting for CPI numbers to come out to kind of see how everything was going to turn. And I mean, we got CPI numbers today. We had 2.4, which came in slightly below the expectation. I think they were believing it to be, aiming it for it to be 2.4. And then you were talking about trueflation. And I know you've talked about this before on the podcast.
Yes.
And they actually show it even lower. They're showing us sitting at 1.94.
Yep. Well, they don't wait for the monthly averages. They're just taking snapshots. It seems like on a daily basis. And they do it for a whole bunch of different countries. I mean, they also have it listed for, Great Britain. They have it listed for India, Argentina. I mean, it's kind of scary how much, the inflation is in Argentina still.
Yeah.
37.54%. Phew.
Yeah, I would not want to be there.
No. Well, it was worse when Milei got elected. I mean, it was like 100% that year, I think.
That is so crazy. So he's brought it down quite a bit.
Yeah. That's still pretty rough, though.
That is still pretty rough. UK showing at 3.52. Yeah. U.S. inflation 1.94. And it looks like when we look at that, it's kind of all over the place because it looks like there was even on May 14th, it was 1.67. So, and it's kind of interesting because they're saying a big reason why the impact on the inflation has been the impact on tariffs, affecting consumer prices. But you know what the interesting thing about that, though, is that you would expect if the tariffs was as big a deal as everybody was saying they were going to be, that inflation number would be a lot higher than what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think tariffs do have a small impact on prices, but it's on one-time payment, right?
Yeah.
It's not something where you're flooding the money system with a whole bunch of dollars and then just driving it there. That's what really causes inflation. So far things are holding on pretty steady. Maybe a little too steady for Donald Trump's taste, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, that kind of goes into our next, what we're going to talk about here. Trump is actually talking about, and at first you and I had both kind of heard about this. I thought it was just rumor, but apparently I did find an article where it talks that he actually is talking about Kevin Warsh as a replacement for Jerome Powell. Trump's been really wanting Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. And every time they have a meeting, which they do have a meeting coming up on June 18th, we'll have to see if they kind of give it all to any of the pressure from Trump that he's applying to it. But what they're saying is that, there's still strong job growth happening in the United States. Everything's looking pretty good. Inflation's still not where they want it to be, still a little bit higher, but at the same time, it's not. I would take 2.4 over the 9 that we had, 9.1 back in 2022. But I mean, and we've said this before and we'll say it again, like their numbers on the CPI number are still absolute garbage.
Yep. Well, it's the basket that they pick, they rotate the things out of the basket that'll make the numbers look better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's totally a rigged game. So it is what it is. The only thing I can say is energy prices really they've kind of gone down. I mean, they kind of jockey back and forth now, but gas for us is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
Can never really get there and stay below that though.
No, because I've saw it like kiss a couple times right below $3, and it was only for like a day or so. It was like $2.89 or something like that, and then it would shoot back up, and it has not been able to keep below that, which is kind of interesting, especially because a barrel of oil right now is $67. So yeah, I don't know. Inflation's all over the map, although supposedly we also have a China deal done. China. That's Trump's word says it's done with quotation marks, right?
Right.
Although we'll have to kind of see, I think they have until August to actually finalize the deal. He's just saying it's waiting for President Xi's signature. So it's basically saying that the U.S. will impose a 55% tariff on Chinese imports, while China will levy a 10% tariff on U.S. imports. The agreement aims to stabilize trade after prior tariff escalations nearly halted commerce between the two nations. One of the other parts of the deal is that China students and rare earths. The deal will allow Chinese students to attend U.S. colleges and universities and reopen trade in rare earth minerals, which are essential technology for manufacturing and technology, which we know that. Stock market's cautious on the news. They're not really reacting to it one way or the other. It's kind of a little bit too soon to get too excited about it, I think.
I agree.
We would need to actually see something more concrete come out of that. Because, I mean, she could really just be like, whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why he would go for 55% and 10%. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. And that's the thing. Donald Trump just has a reputation as a loose cannon, just in the public's opinion too. So I think just everyone kind of goes, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Outside of the diehard MAGA fans, but I don't blame them. I'm just, I'm skeptical of everyone.
No, I completely agree. Kind of interesting. Speaking of skeptical, Kash Patel. Did you listen to that episode of Joe Rogan with Kash Patel?
Have not.
Okay. Yeah. Give that a listen sometime. I'm very cynical about anything that guy's saying. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what, I don't know. You know what the problem is? I don't know what to believe anymore from anything.
No. Well, especially because him and Bongino were saying one thing about Epstein, and as soon as they got in there, they're saying a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And they're saying, believe us, we have videotape. Okay, then show it to us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and the problem now, because how long ago did Epstein die?
That's like 2020, somewhere in there. I mean, it's been over 5 years at least.
Well, and now like with AI video, I can't trust anything that anybody produces.
True. And it's only getting better.
Yeah. And they can make it look as crappy as they want to, whatever they want to do. Like, I mean, if they're like, oh yeah, no, this is what it looks like from a camera from a cell. Like,
exactly. From a jail cell security camera, how grainy is that footage going to be to begin with?
Yeah. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. It's getting so hard to tell what is truth and what is not. I'll tell you the one thing that is true is Bitcoin. And that's just because that ledger continually writes those blocks.
That's right.
Can't span.
And there will only be so many mined.
Absolutely. So one of the other things, you had turned me on to a book a while back, and I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, but The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to say his name wrong. Tom Bilyeu, whatever his name is. Impact Theory is the podcast. He did a deep dive onto The Creature of Jekyll Island. It's about an hour, and he takes you through 5 major points about The Creature from Jekyll Island. I recommend it to people that aren't, that maybe they've heard from the book, they haven't wanted to go sit down and read it. But to really get your head wrapped around our current monetary banking system and its foundations, go listen to that episode.
For sure. Well, I tell you what, reading that book's going to take you a lot longer than an hour. So if you're going to get the Cliff Notes version, that's probably the way to go.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what turned me onto this kind of route. And in a way, kind of turned you onto this route too. So
yeah, I read it many years after you did. And I think, because how long ago was that book written? It's been a long time, right?
It was in the 90s is when I got a hold of it.
And I think I read it probably, for me, it's probably been within the past, that's maybe a decade.
Well, I know that they have an updated version out now. So, and what's crazy is G. Edward Griffin, the author, is still alive. And he wasn't exactly a spring chicken when he wrote it back in the 90s. So, yeah.
One of the last things that I'm going to just kind of highlight about that, he did a deep dive kind of talking about I think it was the report from Iron Mountain from The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Yeah.
Do you remember that part of the book?
I don't.
It was, and basically like, they were like, well, we don't know necessarily if like that was supposed to be like a parody, but like looking at that report, like it looks just so like legit now, like looking at it as being true. So, I mean, it's kind of just, it's eye-opening, it's sickening, disgusting to hear that information. And to know that we're all still a part of it. I mean, and I don't know what Bitcoin is like a good escape hatch. Like gold was our previous surefire bet to get out of that. And
Well, it was our previous thing that was escaped from through the, creature from Jekyll Island, right?
yeah,
And it just showed, I mean, gold is good, but it's not good enough to prevent certain things from happening. And the thought is Bitcoin is. And we don't know that for sure, but that's kind of what we're pinning our hopes on.
yeah. And I think what it goes back to is that because gold, once it gets into that paper, and I mean, we can see the same thing possibly happen with Bitcoin, but we can all see the ledger with Bitcoin, which is the big
Right.
difference. With gold, it's too diluted. We know it's diluted.
Well, we know it's diluted. We know it's still growing at 2% a year. And then you can't exactly open up the vaults and see what the bank is issuing you.
Yep.
Are they issuing you paper that they can cover on the back end?
Yeah, the fractional reserve banking system in general.
Yep.
Yeah, he goes through all that. I recommend it at least as a primer for getting into this kind of stuff. If you're especially like if you're a gold bug, and you understand why you like gold, it's been money for thousands of years. Really start looking at Bitcoin. Take a look at it. It's going to make a pretty big difference in your life if you can grasp it.
Don't be like Peter Schiff.
Don't be like Peter Schiff, unless you're like the 16-year-olds, like what he talks about.
Well, I tell you what, I've been into both. I was into gold before Bitcoin, and after I saw Bitcoin, I kind of switched. And I'm not like it's not like I'm selling everything I had, but that's where my main focus is going because I do see Bitcoin as the gold of the future. It's the perfect digital gold.
Exactly. And that's the biggest question I always ask people that are like, well, I really like gold. I'm like, well, the question I just am going to ask you is the future more digital or less digital? And if you can answer that question and say, well, it's going to be more digital, well, then you need the money of the internet.
That's right.
So, if you are going to decide that you want to go ahead and do some self-custody of your own Bitcoin, once you decide to get some coin, you can get yourself a Ledger wallet off our website or an Ep163. Just go to www.thebitbytepodcast.com, go under the deals tab, and you can get yours for your own there. You get a direct link to the vendors. It's just an affiliate link for us. So we get a little bit extra money for producing this content for you and for guiding you on your path.
Absolutely. Not your keys, not your crypto.
Amen. Anything else you wanted to bring up?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next week. I kind of want to do an episode after we get the Fed rate decision. I'm kind of curious to see what Powell will do. I'm guessing he's going to hold. What's your guess?
He's not doing what Trump wants to do. He wants to get fired, if he even can get fired.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, and that's the funny thing is Trump's the one who hired him in the first place. So,
yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Thank you all for listening.
Bye.